Am I the a-hole for ignoring the GoFundMe my biological mother set up to fund treatment for one of her kids? The background to everything is that my dad died when I, 21 male, was 4.5 years old. After his passing, my biological mother left me with my paternal grandparents and never tried to be a parent to me. I saw her once when I was 6. She was looking for money from my grandparents, who told her where to go. She didn't even check in with me to see how I was doing. It was just, give me money. He was my husband and I deserve it. And then she left again. My grandparents were my legal guardians and had custody until my 18th birthday. They never chased my biological mother for child support. Instead, they saved for my future. I had a small inheritance from my dad too, and there were things of his that I wasn't interested in keeping. My grandparents sold those items and added the proceeds to my inheritance. Since my biological mother didn't want them either, and the sentimental things my dad loved were saved, they felt it was for the best. 2 years ago, my biological mother reached out to my grandparents via social media and asked for my dad's things that they had already sold. She said she needed the money from them. They told her the items had been sold years ago and she wasn't getting a penny. She put 2 and 2 together and told them some of that should have gone to her. They told her she forfeited it all and they had the messages to prove she wanted none of it at the time. She then told them she had a kid with cancer who needed the money for treatments, and my grandparents told her my dad wasn't funding another man's child's treatment. Another year later, my biological mother contacted me and said she wanted to talk about the money she knew I had and how it would help her and her husband a lot because they had 4 kids and one who was undergoing cancer treatments. I blocked her without replying. Then this past summer, to be exact, she contacted me on another account and sent me a link to a GoFundMe where they were raising money for the child's cancer treatment. The money was only partially going directly to funding treatment. They also wanted money for a place to stay and other expenses. I ignored the GoFundMe too and never donated. 2 months later, I got a message from my biological mother's husband, a stranger to me, who wrote, "This is your half-sister and you should be helping her." I ignored the message, blocked his account, and made my account private. Then my biological mother found a different account on another platform and DM'd me several times in a single night while I was asleep. She told me I was running from my little siblings and a 6th sibling who needed my help and that I was doing it to punish her when they didn't deserve it because they're innocent, blah blah blah. I replied that they needed to leave me alone because I was not part of her family and was not interested in spending money on her children. Then I blocked her account. She contacted my grandparents again and said they had raised me to be heartless and have no regard for family. They told her where to go again. It's crazy to me that they're so annoyed by this. Her husband yelled at my grandparents too, and it's like, what is this? They're acting like we owe them or their kids something. She's nothing more to me than my biological mother. She wasn't a donor. She didn't do a generous thing by giving people the chance to have a kid. She's not some selfless person or a caring mother who made a simple mistake. All she cares about is getting money from me. Her kids are nothing more to me than random kids I hear about on social media. That feeling grows with every interaction my grandparents or I have with this woman and her husband. But I wanted to check and see what people think. Was ignoring the GoFundMe a bad move? I could have donated. It wasn't that I couldn't afford it. I simply didn't want to. Does that make me the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Tell her if she and her family don't leave you alone, you will go after her for the child support she never paid and file a restraining order. Consider reaching out to a lawyer to send a cease and desist. Not the a-hole. Also, you might want to consider having your grandparents legally adopt you, or at least your grandma, if you want to keep your bio dad on your birth certificate. It has some legal benefits when it comes to inheritance and things like that. It doesn't hurt to look into it and see if it would be beneficial to you all. I considered adoption briefly, but my grandparents and I agreed that we didn't want Dad's name taken off my birth certificate. So instead of them adopting me, they are named as my emergency contacts if anything happens to me. I'm in their will and will get whatever percentage my dad would have received. And we have things in place that take away the need for adoption. It would feel weird to be adopted just by Grandma. As much as I love her, it would feel wrong to have just her over Grandpa. But having Grandpa adopt me would erase my dad. If she actually tries to contact me again, I'll speak to an attorney. But I can't do it on my grandparents' behalf. And right now, my grandparents are the ones being contacted, not me. Just mention to them they might want to consult a lawyer if the leeches won't back off. I honestly wonder how much of that GoFundMe thing will wind up actually paying for cancer treatments. When I was looking into it, they were almost at their goal. I don't know if they overshot or what, but assuming they reach it, they should have some money to help with it. Considering their daughter has been sick for a couple of years, or maybe longer, it might end up costing way more if this doesn't work or they need more treatment than what they're quoting. Wow, she's a piece of work. I really feel for the poor child, but it's not your responsibility to give money to a complete stranger. They can pull the family card all they want, but they aren't your family. The GoFundMe is the equivalent of seeing a random post on Facebook. Acknowledge it's sad, but move on without donating. There's no obligation or ill feeling if you don't. I would tell them that if they don't leave you and your grandparents alone, you will go after your mom for the unpaid child support. Since she never paid, she should have plenty to cover her other child. Yeah, she's making a really good case for me wanting nothing to do with her. I don't remember her super well, and the limited stuff I do remember isn't positive at all. Next story. Am I the a-hole for saying no to my younger sister and causing my family to not speak to me anymore? I, 36 female, have a 26-year-old younger sister. Let's call her Jane. Jane is the apple of my family's eye, their favorite, and can do no wrong in their eyes. Jane quits every job she ever gets. She quit school during the second semester. She had a drug problem that she hid from my parents for years. I love my little sister, but she is not trying to better her life. She is not trying to move out of our parents' house or be independent on her own. This brings me to my next point. My parents have wanted grandchildren forever. They always bring it up at every family get-together or every time I call them. I have told them since I was a teen, I don't and will never want kids. It's not that I don't like them or anything. I love kids. I just can't risk them inheriting the various mental and physical illnesses that seem to get passed down every generation. I won't go into the specifics of what they are, but they are incurable. They can be controlled with medicine to live a long, happy life. Recently, my sister decided she wants to have a baby. She has no job or income. My parents pay for all her bills and stuff, and she has been trying to become pregnant since the beginning of the year, but she hasn't been successful. My parents decided to ask if I would be a surrogate for her, since she can't seem to conceive on her own. I immediately said no. It's irresponsible to bring a child into the world when the mom isn't working or bringing in any money. Plus, I mentioned that my sister is not responsible enough to be a mom. She's very selfish and will expect my parents to pay for everything. My parents said that she will find a job soon and will be able to be a good mom. I continued to say no, I will not do that. My parents then brought up how I won't have kids, how my eggs are going to waste, why can't I be a good sister, and how they don't want to die before they become grandparents. After I went home, they called me and told me to change my mind and be a good daughter. They won't talk to me anymore. They told me I'm uninvited to Thanksgiving and Christmas this year. They said they still loved me, but I'm being a selfish person. I'd take them up on it and walk away, permanently. These people are treating you as an incubator, not a human being. It's vile. You did the right thing. Saying no does not make you selfish. It is your body, your choice, and no one has the right to pressure you into something that big. Your family's being unfair and emotionally manipulative. Paraphrasing, be a surrogate or you're disowned. The trash took itself out. You notice it was all about what they want? Sis doesn't want to raise a child. She just wants a kid. They want to be grandparents before they die, like it's an entry on their bucket list, right after the Caribbean cruise and the skydive. They're threatening OP with a good time, so she should just accept. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not spending the money my paternal grandparents gave me on a birthday present for my stepsister, mom's stepdaughter? My dad died 7 years ago, and ever since I, 16 female, have seen my paternal grandparents once a month. My grandparents give me money once a month and tell me to treat myself with it or save it. My mom knows about the money. I don't think she was ever totally happy about it, but she never tried to take it from me. or stop them giving me money that I'm in the know about. Maybe she did, and I was never told. Anyway, my mom remarried 3 years ago, and her stepdaughter, my stepsister, turned 6 a couple of weeks ago. Mom told me that since I have my own money, and I'm 16 now, I should be buying presents for her, like I would for my friends. She told me this a week before her birthday. I told Mom that's not how this works because I get the money from my grandparents. Mom told me she didn't care, and I should spend it on my little sister. I didn't want to spend the money I get from my grandparents on my stepsister. I wanted to do what my grandparents say and spend it on stuff for me or save it. I told Mom I wasn't spending it on my stepsister, and Mom didn't believe me. So when my stepsister's birthday came, she got nothing from me and my mom's husband freaked. My mom kept expecting me to say I bought something and she thought I was being stubborn, but I told her I was serious. Mom told me it was so mean to do, and my stepsister was 3 when she met me and she was upset when she didn't get anything from me. I told her if she wants her to have something from me, then she needs to buy it. And we argued. She said with my attitude, I should buy whatever I need for myself. And I told her if she wanted me to have more of my own money to buy stuff, she needs to let me get a job because she stopped me in the past. She said I have money, and I told her that's not money she gets a say in how I spend. Mom told me she does get a say because I'm a minor and she's my mother. And she kept emphasizing the minor and mother part and saying she could get a say. She doesn't know where my money is, which is good, but she's still mad at me over the birthday present. Am I the a-hole? Have your grandparents open an account for you at a bank where you and your grandparents are the co-owners of the account. Then you will have a debit card that you can use. Yes, and keep the card where no one else can find it. Not the a-hole. If anyone takes your money, you need to immediately tell your grandparents and never keep that money in your house, wallet, or anywhere else in your parents' house. It sounds like your mom is about to start taking it by the things she says, but maybe I'm wrong. My grandparents looked into it before, and they couldn't open one and give me access because they're not my parents or guardians. I could ask them to check again and find out if my age helps at all. Tell them to open their own account and just give you card or PIN or something. They probably were looking for one which would be jointly owned with you. Out of curiosity, why didn't you want to spend any money on your stepsister? While how you spend your money is your business and nobody asks you to spend hundreds of dollars on your stepsister, just one small thing from you would be nice. So why? I am missing reasons here. Personally, I think that forcing anyone who is underage and with no job to buy presents is a bit a-hole-ish. Still, there are plenty of ways you could do something nice for your stepsister. Of course, we don't know anything about your family's dynamic or relationships, so all I can do is ask, did you do something else for your stepsister for her birthday? Because I don't see her as my sister, and I don't really have an actual close or close-ish relationship with her. She lives there, but she's more of my mom's stepdaughter than someone I love and consider my family. I was there when they had a small party at home for her. I am indifferent. I don't dislike her, but I don't really like her either, and I just don't feel like I want to try and be closer. She's not like a sister to me, so I'm okay with things being this way. Last story. Am I the a-hole for threatening divorce if my husband doesn't start prioritizing the kids and me over his disabled mother? My husband and I have been married for a decade. We have 5 children and I am a stay-at-home mom, a decision we made together. My mother-in-law was diagnosed with high blood pressure. She refused to take her prescribed medication, believing that all she needed to do was pray and fast for healing. Well, 3 years ago, she had a stroke that left her with aphasia and wheelchair-bound 80% of the time. She spent many months in hospital, and when she was discharged, my husband went over for a couple of weeks to help her settle in. A caretaker and nurse were hired to help her. Unfortunately, my mother-in-law is a difficult patient, and she has cycled through many caretakers and nurses. She has been physically and verbally abusive to her care team. For example, one evening, a caretaker called because my mother-in-law had fired her at 3 a.m. and threw objects at her when the caretaker told her that she couldn't leave her until someone came over to take over her care. All this commotion led to my husband spending more and more time at my mother-in-law's, trying to sort out her care. Initially, he would drive to her place after work every other day to check that all was in order. His mother lives an hour away from us, so driving back and forth after work was strenuous, so my husband asked to sleep over there instead of driving back. Over time, his sleepovers at my mother-in-law's have become more frequent and extended. Last month, he only spent 1 week at home with me and the children. The rest of the month was spent at his mother's. Last time he was home, our youngest was afraid of him because he thought he was a stranger. I have raised this issue with him, but he accuses me of being heartless and uncaring. He tells me that his mother needs him. So during our call yesterday, I told him that I was thinking of divorce because I am currently living as a single parent. He didn't take too kindly to that. Edit. I see comments asking the same questions, and I am going to answer some of the questions here. 1. My husband is my mother-in-law's only surviving child. 2. Our youngest is 15 months. I spent most of the pregnancy alone because of this situation. I had to drive our older children to extracurricular activities while I was heavily pregnant. He was at his mother's when I went into labor, and our neighbor drove me to hospital while his wife took care of our children. Second edit. Our house was bought by my father-in-law for our family. He was a staunch Christian who believed in family values, so he bought this house to support our marriage and family. He was a voice of reason and often played the role of marriage counselor. We miss him terribly. My mother-in-law does behave better when my husband is around because my husband knows how to calm her down. So even though she is abusive, my husband knows how to de-escalate. She has not been diagnosed with dementia. When we spoke about a care home, my husband was not willing to consider it because my mother-in-law is attached to her home, and my husband was told that moving her to a place where she is unfamiliar with her surroundings may cause her to deteriorate. He also said there are many horror stories about elderly abuse at care homes. We spoke again after my post. He was weeping, saying that his mother is dying and he wants to spend as much time as possible with her before she passes. He also said threatening divorce was cruel. His mom needs to be moved into a care home that is equipped to handle her. He's a dad, and he can't abandon his family over 75% of the time. It's harming his relationship with you and the kids. Don't threaten divorce unless you're ready to go down that path. It's not an empty threat, and it's not something you can always come back from. Add to the above comment that they will also be multiple people on each shift, so they're not getting burned out dealing with her behavior. As someone that works in skilled nursing, I can tell you that facilities do get burnt out. And if the patient is so bad that they can't provide care to her, they will find a way to get her out of the facility. I've seen it done many times, and once she starts getting a name across town, it'll be difficult to find placement for her.